Well, good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate your patience. We're got a lot going on in the next 3 or 4 days, and was at some meetings to try to find a good path forward for some good legislation. And so I apologize for being late. We do have a couple issues I wanted this committee to do before we got too late in the session. And but we'll open up this meeting with a word of prayer from Representative Bennett. What number are you? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, everyone. We ask that God will bless this meeting, bless our leadership, and help us to be better leaders to serve the people of this great state. And this is what I ask this morning. Amen.
Thank you. On our agenda, we got H.R. 1564 from Representative Karen Bennett, and thank you for that prayer. And I think the resolution LC 442840 is in your packet. It's I'll let her explain this resolution, creating a House Summit on hunger and food insecurity. It's an issue we've been talking about in this committee since last year. I know we had a Senate bill, Harold Jones, that's still sitting in this committee, that created a large type committee that we have not moved on this committee, but Representative Bennett and others have been really diligent in working about trying to find a pathway that we could attack and find some solutions to hunger in our state. And I really appreciate the representative for working very hard, and others in the industry and out in the other areas, other businesses about this. So, Representative Bennett, I'll turn it over to you, and I think we got a person or two in the audience that would like to speak to it as well. So, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning again to our colleagues. Mr. Chair, if I may invite Kathy Cassava to come and join me along with Dana Kraft, because we know that it's busy time this morning and everybody's moving forward. And if they would come and just share this space with me, I appreciate it. So, House Resolution 1564, LC 442840, is that what you have? Okay, this is a resolution, as Mr. Chairman has said, to create the House Summit on Hunger and Food Insecurity. Food insecurity is defined as the lack of access at times to enough food for an active and healthy lifestyle. The opposite of that, which is food security, is defined as the access by all people at all times to enough food that is nutritionally adequate. So henceforth comes the opportunity to have a summit to bring stakeholders together. We know that Georgia continues to rank in the bottom of states in our state health rankings. And we know that food insecurity continues to be a big problem, despite the great work that other stakeholders have been providing in food banks and other organizations. And so there still continues to be a great gap, particularly in rural Georgia, particularly with seniors and particularly with children. It's estimated that 500,000 children in Georgia alone do not have consistent access to enough nutritious food. And particularly when we talk about nutrition and food, we're talking about fresh fruits, vegetables, and quality meats. And so we know that Georgia has a great reputation in our farm production for food to table program, and yet there still continues to be such a great gap, and I've invited these two experts to talk about it. And just to leave you with, the national research shows that residents of lower income communities, rural communities, as well as seniors have a lack of access and or affordability to get the types of food that will help produce a healthy community. So with that, the summit will help to bring together organizations that are involved and work in this space so that we can continue to collaborate and have the House to become more engaged and involved so that we can be more advised when it comes to establishing policy in the area that can continue to help our constituents. This is a bipartisan bill. We've got great people signing on to it, and I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your support and your encouragement along this line.
Well, thank you. Can you, talking about this summit, I guess you're thinking that an all-day meeting, bringing together some different organizations to discuss areas of that sort of thing, is that kind of what you're thinking of?
Yes, sir. That is exactly what we're thinking of, as well as combining or adding a committee meeting to that summit as well, so that we can benefit and leave that summit with some like-mindedness as to how we can come together and continue to combat this situation in our state. And prior to that, we did not get so specific about it because we talked about the study committee and all of the other committees that exist. And I've gotten the assurances from other stakeholders that they will participate, as well as from the Department of Agriculture, that this is going to be a great event where we can leave there with different ideas than what we came.
Correct. So the idea is not to create a study committee, is to do it within this committee with a one-day meeting sometime late summer or early fall, I think is the idea, just to be transparent here and with some stakeholders and with availability. So you've got a couple of other wonderful ladies sitting at the table with you that we would love to speak to. Kathy Kazava with Georgia Food Industry Council. And thank you, Kathy, for helping Representative Bennett and myself trying to craft a pathway that we could do without creating too much new government and that sort of thing to look at this issue and try to find solutions. So if you got the mic, love to hear from you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, my name is Kathy Kazava, and I'm president of the Georgia Food Industry Association, representing the supermarkets across the state. I know y'all are very busy, and you've heard me speak on this before, but I would just like to thank Representative Bennett for bringing forward this bill, or this resolution. And I think bringing the parties together will allow the House Agriculture Committee to really understand what's going on. There were so many questions that you had when we presented this bill in committee a few weeks ago that I think this is a wonderful, wonderful chance for us to bring the groups together. I've pledged my support as well as the food banks, and I know we've got a lot of people that are very supportive of the issue, and will be absolutely happy to work with Representative Bennett on making this a success for this committee. Again, we work with the grocers since the pandemic has come. We've seen inflation has gotten so high, and we really see our customers having a hard time just making it day to day. So it's hunger is a challenge, and it's becoming an increasing challenge. So we recommend that you go forward with this bill and support it wholeheartedly.
Thank you. You also have Dana Kraft with Feeding Georgia, our food bank organization in Georgia. Thank you for the great job you're doing in that area. You've been here to this committee before and helped. This committee was part of the Wild Hog Supper that you sponsor. I hope we raised a lot of money in that event and got a lot of publicity, I'm sure, for your organization. So tell us a little bit your thoughts about this resolution.
Well, Feeding Georgia endorses this resolution. We think the summit is the right way to move forward with lifting up a lot of the issues in order for us to potentially identify policy solutions that we might want to look at going forward. Really appreciate your support, Chairman Dickey and Representative Bennett, bringing the resolution forward. As y'all noted, as you noted, Chairman Dickey, when we did the joint House and Senate committee hearing, we have a lot of stakeholders already working really well together in this space, and I think an opportunity to more formally bring them in for a longer period of time so that y'all can hear the issues and hear from some of your constituents that are working with us on the ground in the communities, I think would be very beneficial. So we support this and look forward to assisting in any way.
Thank you. I have realized over the last few years, we do have a lot of organizations working on this issue. A lot of them are siloed and doing their thing, and I think one of my things I like to see this summit meeting accomplish is try to make sure everybody knows what everybody else is doing within the state and different areas. I know, and so I think that would be very positive having this. So. Thank you both for being here. We got some questions. Chairman Perkle got his light on. To you.
No doubt. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. And I like the idea to the author. I like the idea of a summit. Sometimes study committees, you kind of get bogged down in some things, and the summit just get together and let's talk about some ideas. For Ms. Cassava, so one of the issues that I have actually talked to some of your members about that is creating a hardship for those that are filling the gap in food deserts. And if they pull out, it's going to make it a lot worse. Is some of the premise liability, the torts that have a direct impact. I've talked to several of your members, many of your members, about the problems they're seeing in their grocery stores and providing food to communities. And I would like to put on the agenda as the summit, or actually a talking point or something, as we're looking at, as a farmer, I love to see more fresh produce in, Georgia grown stuff that shows up in grocery stores all across the state. But there's also an issue with that our grocers are dealing with every single day that I won't be here next year. I'd love to see a good premise bill come to this committee, because this directly impacts food deserts. And we have some grocers that are going to pull out and create more food deserts unless we address this issue. They're crying to me now. They're going to pull out soon. So is that not true?
Yes, Chairman Perkle, that is, you are correct, and I hate that you're leaving, can I just say. One of the gentlemen that testified before you a couple weeks back, the president of Wayfield Foods, Greg Edenfield, called me and told me that he may be forced with some self-insuring now because he just cannot get insurance. They're pulling out of the state. So the amount of what we need it's dire. It is extraordinarily dire, and creating more food deserts, hurting both rural and urban stores. It's a crisis. It is truly a crisis. So it's more than just it's bad. It's bad. And I know that you have some of my members calling you, and I know several of you have my grocers calling you and trying to explain to you the seriousness of the situation. But it is bad, and it keeps getting worse. So we would love to see Georgia pass some meaningful tort reform legislation. Thank you for your question.
Thank you for those comments. Representative Stinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Bennett, for your work on this bill. You've worked on it for quite some time, and I do understand the challenges from the members that Chairman Perkle referenced, and I do understand and support in their concerns. But at this time, there's been a lot of work on this particular legislation, so I would like to make a motion to pass at the appropriate time, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to, anything? Any other questions from the committee before I accept that motion? Yeah. Representative Carter, huh? Okay.
Again, it's afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you, Representative. So my question with the summit, are we looking at a single day in a single location, or will you second years? Because my thought was to be able to really reach folk throughout the state. I didn't know if we need to do one in various aspects, but
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Carter, for the inquiry. Yes, it will be initially one day, and it's in the resolution to state annually repeating, and we hope that from each summit that there will become a need or identify where we go from there. So thank you for the question.
Okay, committee, we got a motion from Representative Stinson. Do I hear a second? Got a second. Any other discussion from the committee? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes, Representative.
Thank
you
you.
for your work.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, colleagues.
Okay, we've got one other resolution I'd like to talk about. I'm gonna turn this over to. I'll sit right here. I don't want to spend a lot of time. I know y'all got many's got other committee meetings to go to. Vice Chairman Campbell. Are you two? 21. 21. Okay.
Bring you up.
Why don't you go ahead and call 1505.
You will be presenting House Resolution 1505.
Correct. LC 442695.
All right.
Thank y'all, committee. You heard from me our last meeting. Just wanted the committee to be able to look at it before me coming back to this committee asking for your favorable consideration. Again, it's a issue I think needs looking at. I've certainly thought better of any legislation this year. It's complicated, but I just really feel that we're losing so much farmland in this state, and this issue with siting solar development is one of several issues where I believe in years to come we're going to look back and wish we'd put a little bit more thought into where we site these large solar farms. And I know we've got some other people, Representative Camp and others on this committee, I think, are looking at other solutions. There are other solutions rather than taking large acreage of our prime farmland for solar. And so that's what I'm asking the committee to look at. I've been in, just to be perfectly honest here, I've been in conversation with the Speaker's office. We got multiple other study committees that might have gotten in line in front of this one, so it might not make it across the line on Thursday, but that's okay. We're going to start the conversation. We're going to look at it maybe at our other Ag Summit or Rural Development Council has taken a look at this in the past in one fashion. So I just would love y'all's input and observations on this issue that I see in the coming months and coming years on doing this. But I just would like to ask you to pass this on the rules, and then we'll see where it falls out. So you handle it.
Any other questions from anyone? Okay. All in favor of this, say aye. Opposed? On the rules.
Motion passes. Thank y'all. I think that's the last bit of business. We got a couple of folks. Anybody else got some things you want to say? Chairman Meeks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just as a point to reflect back on the first joint meeting we had with the Senate with Ms. Kathy, the issue came up on grocers being able to have a longer time frame to be able to apply to be a WIC vendor. I've gotten word from the Department of Public Health that they have submitted a request to USDA to be able to make that certification year-round. So hopefully we will have some positive feedback from USDA on that particular issue, and certainly appreciate everything that y'all are doing. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Got one other question from Representative Cannon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was highlighted this morning in rules, but I want to highlight the many years of service of the guy who to my north, Representative Clay Perkle, and his many years of service to this committee and also to the field of agriculture.
Hey. thank you for that, and I certainly second that. It's nobody up in this Capitol that I'm gonna miss more than Chairman Perkle, and great friend and great Georgian. And so I hope I've told him I hope he stays involved. I'm gonna make sure he is. I'm gonna ask him. He's gonna have to say no to some things next year, but I hope he spends time at his farm and with his family, and those things are very important too. So, thank you. Any other business coming before this committee? Well, this is that a motion? Okay. Peach ice cream's coming Sunday day, no doubt about it. And I think we got some. We do have some strawberries here in the Capitol that's ready to go for tomorrow too. So some good homegrown fruits from Georgia. Hold on to your hats and your boots the next few days, and look forward to a great Sunday day, moving some good legislation. Thank you for your work on this committee this year. I really appreciate it. Y'all have been very diligent about being here and patient, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank you. Oh, shoot.